15 billion miles from Earth, NASA's Voyager 1 just recorded 305 objects moving in perfect formation. Where the nearest star is 4 light-years away, that's not dust. That's not debris. It's a synchronized fleet gliding through the void with no engines, no heat signatures, and movements that violate everything we know about physics. And it all began with a tiny blip in the data stream. The glitch. Echoes in the dark. At first, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory thought it was just noise. When Dr. Eliza Cara, the mission specialist who spotted it, first saw the data, she ran the diagnostics 3 times. The magnetometer showed organized movement. The plasma sensors detected rhythmic pulses. Something out there wasn't just moving, it was steering. And in interstellar space, where the nearest anything is light-years away, that's impossible. In space, about 1% of the mass floats as dust, tiny particles that absorb and scatter radiation. Odd readings happen all the time, but this flicker was different. Dr. Cara said it felt like shouting into a canyon for decades. And finally, something shouts back. The blip was a faint reflection of light caught by Voyager's sensors. At first, it seemed too small to matter, but over hours and days, that flicker morphed into a pattern. The object did things that were physically impossible. No thruster burns, no momentum conservation, like someone hitting undo on physics itself. It curved. It sped up. It didn't tumble like a rock. Instead, it glided as if guided from within. When the plasma wave instruments recorded a focused shift, the team sat up and paid attention. A systems analyst noticed the movement was deliberate, almost machine-like. Could it be that something out there was steering this object? In the quiet physics of space, nothing moves with purpose unless something makes it. As Voyager sent back more data, scientists faced a question they never expected to ask. What moves like a machine but isn't one of ours? Suddenly, the void between stars felt less empty. That tiny anomaly rippled through NASA's halls, stirring both wonder and unease. And that ripple was only the start of a story far bigger than anyone could have guessed. The mystery. The mystery unfolds. With every new packet of data, the object's movement became clearer. The object accelerated to speeds that would tear any known spacecraft apart, then stopped instantly. No deceleration, no physics. NASA's models crashed trying to calculate the energy required. One engineer described it as watching someone delete the laws of motion. It never drifted aimlessly. Data showed it changed direction by tiny degrees, as if correcting its path. Voyager's instruments recorded shifts in magnetic fields that matched the object's course, hinting at something more than a piece of space rock. The first step was to rule out known causes. Could it be a hidden comet or asteroids clumped together? No. Those move according to gravity and tumble randomly through space. Could it be solar wind pushing dust? Again, no. Solar wind flows outward from our sun. And at Voyager's distance, its force is too weak to drive such smooth motion. Next, the team turned to computer models. They simulated an object of the same size and shape floating in the interstellar medium. Under all known forces, it would drift like a leaf in a stream, slow, erratic, at the mercy of random currents. Yet, the real object steered itself. The models simply couldn't match Voyager's readings. Speculation ran wild. Some whispered about alien probes, drones sent by an intelligence beyond our own. Others argued for natural phenomena we don't yet know, ice crystal formations, magnetic whirls, phantom energy fields. Hypotheses flew, each more exotic than the last. But none fit all the data. Voyager's magnetometer captured something that made engineers question their instruments. A pulse too perfect for nature, too organized for coincidence. It pulsed at intervals too regular to be random, like a heartbeat or a signal. That tiny pulse lined up exactly with the object's quick turn in its path. Now, the evidence leaned towards something artificial. When an object in empty space sends back a heartbeat, it starts to feel alive. For decades, Voyager has been humanity's lone traveler in deep space. It carries our hopes, our data, and a record of who we are. Now, it was tracking something that might be tracking us. Or at least watching this boundary between star systems. And if these objects can track Voyager from 15 billion miles away, they can track anything, including the device you're watching this on. The golden record, intended as a greeting, suddenly seemed like a beacon. The team at JPL went into high gear. Engineers rechecked every sensor. Scientists pored over equations. The data slipped through antennas into secure networks and into every corner of NASA's analysis rooms across the globe. Astronomers tuned giant radio dishes to the spot where Voyager last saw the object. Telescopes searched for any sign of light or heat. Planetary scientists, astrophysicists, and SETI researchers joined forces. Yet nothing on Earth could match the intimacy of Voyager's close-range view. The spacecraft alone could see the fine details of motion and magnetism. Every byte it sent back was precious, because buried in that data was proof that we'd already been found. And so, the mystery remains. What is this object moving with purpose so far from home? Is it a wandering remnant of some ancient civilization? A natural marvel we can't yet explain? Or the first sign that we are no longer alone in the sea of stars, the space between us? Dr. Lucas Hang had debunked alien sightings for 20 years, but staring at Voyager's data, his hands were shaking. This wasn't a UFO enthusiast's blurry photo. This was hard data from humanity's most distant probe showing movements that shouldn't exist. Unsure of where to go from here, he started where they normally do, a checklist. Was it an asteroid? No, too smooth, too sharp in its movements. Comet? No trail, no icy vapor. Moon? Not even close. This thing wasn't glowing, wasn't reflecting heat, and wasn't bending light in any way that made sense. Dust? Not a chance. Dust doesn't make clean turns mid-drift, it just floats and scatters. As he stared at his screen, rubbing his forehead, he was trying to figure out what it could be. He'd run every simulation he could think of: gravitational pulls, solar pressure, unknown space currents. But no matter how many times he tried, nothing fit. The object wasn't just odd, it was behaving like it didn't care about the usual rules. Every object in space follows rules we can calculate down to the millimeter. These didn't. They moved like space itself was different around them. Things orbit, spiral, or drift. They fall into patterns that can be charted and mapped. Even chaos in space has structure. One exciting example is the arches of chaos. These arches are like invisible bridges formed by gravity streams around special spots called Lagrange points. From these points, safe and unstable paths flow outward. Together, they shape winding patterns that guide comets, asteroids, and spacecraft across the solar system. No one can see them directly, but scientists map these arches with math and careful observations. They show even the most tangled paths have a map. At the same time, ice in space can seem formless and soft, but it too hides patterns. High above planets and comets and around moons, space ice can join into clusters. When studied up close, this ice shows an organized inner grid. Its atoms line up in repeating patterns that give the ice traits not found on Earth. Even though it floats in the cold corners of space, this ice obeys clear rules in its build. Together, the arches of chaos and the hidden grids in space ice prove that chaos and order can live side by side. But this object, zigged where it should have zagged. It moved like it had somewhere to be. And then an uncomfortable truth began to sink in. This wasn't just unknown. It was unnatural. Something or someone had made this thing, or was controlling it. It wasn't just drifting, it was navigating. That thought hit the team hard, because if something was guiding it, then something out there might be watching. Just as they were trying to come to terms with that idea, something even more surprising happened.